When the Philippines was ceded to the United States by the Treaty of Paris, concluded between the United States and Spain on the 10th of December 1898, the said islands were placed under the American military rule. On July 4, 1901, the civil government was inaugurated with William H. Taft as the first civil governor. As soon as William Howard Taft assumed office as first civil governor of the Philippines, he felt the need for a printing plant patterned after the government printing office in Washington. He lost no time in asking for help from Frank W. Palmer, the public printer of the United States at the time, who recommended John Sylvanus Leach, a 33-year-old self-made man who was already an important figure in Washington printing office. Leach and several others were sent to the Philippines and established the Bureau of Public Printing as a government printing office. A few months later, or on November 7, 1901, the Bureau of Public Printing, as it was first officially named, was created by Act 296 of the Philippine Commission, and Leach was appointed permanent public printer. In behalf of the Filipinos, he laid out a well-devised plan known as the apprenticeship system in the Bureau of Printing as one of his major objectives. During the period 1901 and 1916, the following Americans, aside from the original director John S. Leach, occupied the positions of Director of Printing: Edward E. Gessler and Samuel H. Musick. Another group of men who served as pillars to the Bureau of Printing emerged in 1916, and by the enactment of the Jones Law, the Filipino people were gradually being given the power to manage and control their domestic affairs, to exercise and assume more responsible positions in the government, and to let the people enjoy all the rights and privileges of free citizenry. Shortly before the complete Philippinization of the Philippine government in 1921, the American printers left the Bureau of Printing, and all the key and responsible positions were immediately occupied by the Filipino craftsmen who had been their apprentices. When Mr. Samuel H. Musick, the last American official, resigned from the position of Director of Printing, the Undersecretary of Finance, Honorable Miguel Unson, took over the management of the Bureau as acting director. Pablo Lucas and two other Filipinos were sent to the United States as government pensionados to study typography and printing business administration, monotype operation, and modern photo engraving processes, respectively. Upon their return, Lucas was appointed Director of Printing. Before the war, the Bureau moved from Padre Burgos Avenue to a concrete building of the Bureau of Customs and Automobile Division of the Bureau of Public Works in Port area. During the war, on December 24, 1941, the Japanese planes bombed and destroyed one of the two buildings. 11 employees were killed and scores were wounded. Again, for the second time or during the Liberation Campaign, that same building was shelled and destroyed, this time not by the action of the enemy, but by the American Liberating Forces. With the destruction of the said building, more than 4/5 of its machinery, equipment, furniture, implements, materials, and supplies, including cabinets, types, electroplates, papers, inks, cloths, and millions of official forms kept in stock were burned or destroyed. 3 years after liberation, on May 9, 1948 to be exact, the Bureau of Printing suffered another misfortune when its temporary quarters at the Bilibid compound, Azcárraga Street, were razed to the ground by a fire. The Bureau's operations were suspended, and later, the plant was transferred in Port area. All throughout its existence, the Bureau was placed under the following: 1918, Department of Finance; 1947, Office of the President; 1958, Department of General Services. During the presidency of Corazon Aquino, the Bureau, which was then called the Government Printing Office, by virtue of Executive Order No. 285, Series of 1987, creation of the National Printing Office out of the merger of the Government Printing Office and the relevant printing units of the Philippine Information Agency, and placed under the Office of the Press Secretary. It finally moved to its present location at EDSA, Quezon City. Despite all these adversities, the NPO carried on. Through the years, the NPO became the main and primary provider to the government of all its printing requirement. To date, it is one of the 3 recognized government printers. Its rich history brings to light the resoluteness of its people to continue carrying out its mandated function despite the challenges. Under the dynamic leadership of Director Francisco V. Valles Jr., NPO will relive its glorious days. Today, the National Printing Office, located at EDSA Corner NPO Road, Diliman, Quezon City, stands firm with its edifice and at the same time strong in its conviction, as stated in its vision and quote, to be the premier government-recognized printer, modern and capable, manned by a dynamic group of people committed towards the satisfaction of the printing needs of the national and local government, as well as government-owned and controlled corporations. The National Printing Office, since its foundation in 1901, has always remained firm and strong in its vision, mission, and mandate as a government arm, servicing its printing needs. The employees and its officials remained steadfast in continuously pursuing NPO's vision, mission, and mandate. A good example, the work the Press and Finishing Division has done and endured despite not having the best, new, and modern printing technologies that are already in the market. Against all this, the NPO still find ways to maximize its human resource. Nonetheless, there is a growing challenge in NPO's printing outputs with the advent of new systems in the printing industry. The financial stability of the National Printing Office today is greatly challenged. However, history would tell that NPO has withstood trials and difficulties with its vision, mission, and mandate. Presently, through the humble, energetic, and hardworking leadership Director Francisco V. Valles Jr., the NPO is moving forward, facing its challenges within the direction of its roadmap for 2020. 2020 has a 2-pronged meaning. First, the National Printing Office will implement its modernization plan aiming to be the premier government printing office, and second, 2020 means that the NPO is focused towards soaring high in its vision and ideals. Part of the 2020 roadmap is to acquire new state-of-the-art machines, which in turn increase its market share into stable financial assets to deal with government-to-government transactions, specifically importing raw materials for printing. Yet the biggest and greatest challenge of the National Printing Office in its ambitious and daring task to modernize everything is where to source out the funds and budget for all of these acquisitions and modernization endeavors. Director Francisco V. Valles Jr. tasked a technical working group from amongst the National Printing Office management, employees, and consultants to come up with proposals and feasibility study to source out funds and have budget for the acquisitions and modernization of NPO in general. And true enough, the technical group has come up with the following proposed ventures, subject for final approval of authorized head of agency. One is acquisition of state-of-the-art machines from the revolving funds of the National Printing Office as part of the budget included in the APP of 2017 and of 2018 and even until 2020. Second proposal is joint venture with existing NPO stakeholders and other new joining stakeholders. One concrete manifestations of working together is the signing of NPO Stakeholders Commitment Statement, which a good number of stakeholders took party to show their interest and support for a better and if not best NPO. Here is the NPO Stakeholders Commitment Statement. We, the stakeholders in partnership with National Printing Office, commit with integrity in living out the vision, mission, mandate, goals, values, and objectives of the National Printing Office. We practice respect with each other and to NPO in the delivery of services and products that enhance the knowledge, growth, and profitability through advocacy, research, education, marketing, and technical knowledge. We work with transparency in all our transactions. We will not knowingly and willingly promote corrupt practices among ourselves and to the officers and employees of the National Printing Office. We always honor with dignity the ethics and core values of NPO in the pursuit of the general welfare of government service and its mandate as the National Printing Office of the Republic of the Philippines. We therefore affix our signatures as our pledge of commitment in the pursuit of integrity and loyalty this 13th day of June 2017. Signed, NPO Stakeholders. Third proposal is the lease to own the machines and financed by the Land Bank of the Philippines. Finally, fourth proposal is the investment that NPO will do in its property, which can be done with a joint venture with a real estate developer. Human resource is given great priority in terms of character development that emphasizes integrity, empowerment of the individual person, and professional competence. Trainings in technology and new systems are also included in the modernization, as well as the ongoing trainings for human development and creative recreations for the individual employee. Doug Hammarskjöld, former UN Secretary General from 1953 to 1961, wrote from his book entitled Markings. He said, end quote, "For all that has been thanks, and for all that will be yes." The history, the legacies of NPO's predecessors, the glories, the struggles, the successes, and for what NPO is now and will be, we say thank you very much. Yet, it will always bring us to move forward, and so we say the challenges, acquisitions, the proposals, the joint ventures, and all what NPO is in its dreams, vision, mission, and mandate, we boldly and daringly say yes. A resounding yes to change for the better, and yes to live and practice the vision, mission, and mandate of NPO. To the Filipino people, this is the National Printing Office. We are NPO, we are integrity, we are respect, we are passion.